Hi folks, welcome back to the China versus Europe Championship. So, as this lovely little graphic shows you, we're going to watch a game between Bing, or Robin as he's known on the Iron Throne, from China and Alex from France today. And this is the losers bracket. As you can see, the penultimate match of the losers bracket, so whoever wins this one meets the loser of the semi-finals game between Reinhardt and Robert, and whoever loses today is eliminated from the tournament. And this is actually quite interesting because these two players met in round 1 of the winners bracket earlier in the tournament, and Alex won that one, so Robin had to make his way through the very first round of the losers bracket to the stage where we are at now. So he needs to win, I think, 6 games in a row to become champion, and Alex dropped into the losers bracket at the second time of asking, so in this round 2. And yeah, they played, I think it was Greyjoy, Fealty for Alex, and was it Martel, Knights of the Hollow Hill for Robin in that one. So it will be interesting to see what the players bring this time. Will it be the same decks, or will they choose something different? So obviously they know one another pretty well by now, and they know what the other likes to play. Robin yeah, often does well with these Martel decks, but can play other stuff as well. And Alex, of course, yeah, lots of Greyjoy success for him, but he too has played Martel Knights of the Hollow Hill quite successfully in the past. So no way of telling exactly what will be played today. So game about to start, and then the other one this weekend is the winners bracket semi-finals. So that's between Reinhardt and Robert. The winner there makes the finals, so has a little bit of rest before they need to play the next game, and the loser will play the winner of the game we are about to watch right now. Okay, spectators joining. Still waiting for Alex. Maybe, yeah, last opportunity to tweak something in his deck. Now let's see if any surprises await us here. Okay, and this time Robin goes for the Greyjoy Fealty, and Alex goes for Targaryen Fealty. So yeah, that's another deck he likes to play. I think it's gonna be a burn deck. Played against this quite recently in the last online event last weekend, and yeah, lost that game. So it's a good deck for sure. And the question is, what exactly will it face here? Because Greyjoy Fealty does not necessarily mean the conventional Greyjoy deck with big characters. It could mean Drowned God, but I think once the cards are revealed here, it will be pretty clear whether it is or it isn't. And it isn't, as you can see. So eager deckhand, not exactly the character you want to set up, with some economy and the Maiden's Bane. And we have yeah, equally awkward Aegon Targaryen on the other side. You would prefer him in shadows with the Beggar King and the Dragon. And Alex immediately going for the draw, as many of the burn decks do. And Robin goes for the econ, hoping to play one of the big characters, I'm sure. And looks like we'll get 3 cards here for Alex, including a burn event. Dragon is now slave. Definitely don't want to give him the Daenerys here. So it's Viserion, Slavers by Port, and Dragon is now slave. And that Beggar King immediately helps with economy here for Alex. Yeah, so if you can burn stuff, you win the game. That's the usual game plan, but the question is what the strength of characters here will be. So Victarion is pretty big, difficult to burn. If the 6 cause Euron is in the deck, he's only 4 by default. Asha is 5 strength, Balons are all 5 strength, I think. So not that well protected against Dracarys and Daenerys Trigger, for instance. Okay, and we have Alanis helping with more draw here. And Euron, it is the one with 4 strength, so he can search for a warship or put silence into play. And he does have silence in hand. Now that draws another card for Alanis. And an Iron Fleet Scout marshaled for free, so I'm sure that means there is another warship in hand for the silence trigger, and that is a useful location. So if you go first, it's +2, and you can do that in the first action window after the challenge is initiated to have some chance of getting your character above the usual burn range, which would be 4 is the most critical, I guess, because that's what Dracarys can immediately hit, and 3 even worse, because Consuming Flames gets that as well. Radek joining and leaving the game, so there was a final played in one of the other online events at the same time, which Radek was involved in, so looks like that's already done. Wonder how it went. And we have the other dragon, and we have Haldon Halfmeister with a generally useful ability. He can grab some more events, or sometimes can put additional gold on Astapor. And 2 gold still left, and the Fealty reduction, so basically threat of Consuming Flames and Dracarys in the same challenge, which means nothing is really safe here. And for instance, if Euron is immediately burned here in the first challenge, that's going to be a huge setback. Of course, Greyjoy does have the one save that works against that, Reason from the Sea. And Robin has brought Hand's Judgment here as well, which, most decks seem to play in this tournament. 3 copies. Very important at this point in the game, I guess. But that's 1 Hand's Judgment gone, and I'm sure plenty of burns still to come. But a big cancel for sure here for Robin. And now that helps him quite a bit here in this challenges phase, because of course Euron also has Intimidate. More economy coming out. Yeah, going wide with location, so political disaster always something you need to think about, and burn deck, it's a question, because they do play a lot of these low gold plots, like exchange of information and counting coppers, so you kind of need economy. But then there aren't many other locations in the deck, probably just Astapor, so maybe you can afford political disaster in that deck. We'll see. Might make a difference if the game goes long, and it could, because Greyjoy, even though it plays aggressively, goes first, does its challenges, it's not necessarily a very fast deck, because there isn't any renown on the big guys. Euron doesn't have it, Asha doesn't have it, and Victarion needs to use the ships to get it. So it's basically just Balon that has printed Renown. And discarding Consuming Flames at random, so that was still an option here with the Fealty reduction. But yeah, Euron is out of range. So that went extremely well here, I think, for Robin. Apart from the fact, of course, that he is not gaining much power, so just the 2 if he wins this one in dominance. And Alex, of course, gets to draw cards from Late Summer Feast. I'm guessing this is it, although with Targaryen always a chance that something comes in for free. Now what's happening here? Maybe Dragon coming back, yes, so Fire and Blood to bring Viserion back, and yeah, this is now going to make a difference probably, because Eager Decken needs to go, and then if March to the Wall is in the deck, and it might be to march Aegon for instance, that is quite a setback here for Robin. Okay, killing Euron and using Reason. That spends some resources here as well, and risking that Hand's Judgment from the other side. Now, the plus side is, of course, that it brings Euron's default strength up to 5, so difficult to get him immediately in the challenges phase, and then even more difficult once the location is used on him. And going for another exchange against, we take Westeros. That can put a location into play. Now let's see what the options are. Nothing in his own discard pile, but there is Gates of the Moon, which is small enough for the Eager Deckhand to bring into play, and that could be quite useful for the future. Now let's see if anything nasty needs to be put into hand this time. Seems like a copy of Rhaegal is probably the least threatening character. He goes for that Begging Brother. Another Dragon is no slave, and another port. I think that was the same story last round. And the Begging Brother, so probably doesn't want dupes, because at some point Morghulis will be played. And here comes Victarion, so he is one of the best here, I think, because he's difficult to burn and he can gain renown. There's plenty of ships now, and 2 gold still left, so I wonder if that can be used for something, because otherwise why use the reducer? There are 2 cost events. I think does the Bloody Cup cost 2? Let's have a look. Yeah. And Slavsberg port slightly inefficient at this point, but I'm sure at some point it will get 2 gold. Euron the only character with a dupe at the moment, so he is one you kind of don't want to get burned if you can help it. And you can to some extent, so he is 5 plus 2 with the scout. But would be even better, obviously, if he was higher strength, because, okay, 7 still under Caris and consuming flames like Alex had in hand last round would have been enough to get rid of Euron completely. And this time Alex carries 7 gold into the challenges phase. Now there is a big ambush character. Drogon has ambush 6 and he is very damaging, but it could also just be saved for the events, so to play Dragon is no slave and whatever else there is. Attachment helps as well on Euron, so he can't be targeted by Dragon is no slave, at least now. Connection problems, so I always mention that probably the games will be quick enough to finish even with connection problems with fast decks. Now this time I'm not so sure actually how fast the Greyjoy deck can be. I know the Targaryen deck is not going to be fast because it doesn't have any renown apart from Khal Drogo that we saw revealed earlier. So if time runs out and there is lots of connection problems, we might see an additional round. And Robin goes for the Iron Gate for more draw. He's running out of cards, and then of course the deckhand can put it back. It can be triggered again, but maybe he leaves it this time, we'll see. So he has decent economy, doesn't need the Gates of the Moon that I suggested earlier. And he's going to risk it with Euron. Now he can't be killed in one hit here, I don't think. So he's probably going to wait with the Ironfleet Scout trigger. So what's the plan here? So with 2 Dragon is no slave in hand, you can... actually it doesn't work, as I said, it doesn't work on Euron, so that's not an option. I was thinking just, even without Terminal Burn, just bring the strength down. Because he does have Intimidate. Okay, so Dracarys is played. That would have been awkward because he goes down to 1 strength and then the scout brings him up to 3 and Consuming Flames can still get him, but as we see the second Hand's Judgment, yeah, 3 times Hand Judgment is the order of the day in this tournament, and for good reason. I wonder if that was one of the cards he had at the start of the round, or if he grabbed it with the Iron Gate. Either way, very fortunate to have that in hand and very useful at this point. So currently Euron refuses to be burned, And now Alex either running out of options or he's not going to bother anymore. As you see, so he spent 2 Dracarises and 1 Consuming Flames already, but he does still have 11 cards in hand. And if the plan is to bring in Drogon, then he needs to save the rest of the gold here. But of course, Intrigue Claim still could go through, and we see Raiding Longship is going to make this unopposed. Incinerate very useful, but not in itself terminal burn, so you need something else, and if the Dracarys gets cancelled, then it's not very impactful, just to reduce character strength to 0 for 1 challenge. This one doesn't even work until the end of the phase, so Euron gets to stand and get his strength back. And now it's going to be a tough job, even with Drogon potentially in hand, because Victarion is pretty big. Yeah, now things look quite fast actually, despite what I was saying earlier. So we have an unopposed power challenge potentially going through here, and Victarion gets to stand and probably gain renown. So we have 2 refurbished Hulks that are free to use, and then probably the scout you keep for emergencies. And yeah, you don't even need to spend anything to stand him, because he is a captain, so Maiden's Bane stands him and then stands itself. So 7 and an additional 1 for dominance. Now let's see if the 6 gold can be used. No. And 2 over reserve as well. So is now maybe the time that Alex needs to start thinking about Morghulis possibly, if he plays that. Because it would kill everyone except Euron. Guessing it's unlikely that there is another reason, just statistically. And then a single character without a duplicate, much more yeah, he can be got rid of, I guess, slightly easier. Okay, perhaps not, because Missandei comes into play. But maybe the Harris is the other option. No, Blood of the Dragon, so that kills the Fishmonger. And we have County Compass on the other side. So this is a good one, because everyone now basically has that terminal condition threat against them, so any kind of dragon is now slave will kill characters if it brings their strength to 0, and a big Incinerate, for instance, on Victarion gets rid of him here. Fortunately, still doesn't get the extra gold for the port. And what do we have here? Gold. Okay, a renowned character. And this time even the Beggar King, unfortunately, does not get the gold. Now with Fealty and the estate, you could bring Drogon in. Dragon is now slave. Play it twice also, not a bad idea. Now let's see, does he take everything into the challenges phase? He does, so I'm guessing he's struggling a bit with options in hand, but we'll see, maybe he does have something useful. Now the question is, how do you approach this one as Robin? He is up to 8 and he could put the pressure on, attack with Victarion, get renown, get close to victory. But of course this is the one turn where you are exposed to the burn events more than any other time. So if he doesn't risk it here, for instance, and just goes into another round, it's the safer play. And as we saw, there are 2 Dragon is now slave events in hand, so that could be used now to just kill Goralt right here. But it does spend most of the gold. Okay, let's see through. Okay, so if you're going to leave the characters to gain power for renown, I'm guessing, so a reset coming next round. So Alex needs to be careful not to let Robin get to 15 here. So no claim, because there isn't any power, and not putting the other renowned character in the challenge, so should be safe. And he doesn't defend the power either. Grey Ghost coming in, so that could stop Aegon defending. Get another unopposed. But now you do need to put something more useful into the challenge. And he is not going to risk it. Okay, so let's see what the plan was here for Alex. Guessing he has something for the counter, otherwise he could have just defended to stop the unopposed. So he's going to do the challenges and just force Robin to defend with the more useful characters and expose them to burn. Let's see if Robin goes for that. So these two with the intrigue icons both have duplicates, so if you waste them here basically and then Morghulis is played, it's not good for you. Okay, and Robin is not going to do that. Helps if Alex gets some power on his faction card anyway to steal later. And now let's see if he defends the power challenge, which is I guess the more important one at this point for him. And still, I'm sure there are two of those. Well, we have one in the discard pile here, so maybe not. And he didn't take it when he won with the dragon. I was thinking he could just try to burn Alanis here, get rid of that duplicated character. Okay, and Robin's not going to go for anything here, just keeping the characters out of challenges. So his Alex is 4 cards over reserve and Missandei is now dead, so no cheating her into play that way. And he hasn't used any cards here in the challenges phase at all. And I think this one will just kill one of those Ziggler deckhands. Okay, now we see it, so it's going to... Is it going to take the claim soak away? No, he goes for Alanis. And another one. And now one of the deckhands needs to be claimed. Still 3 cards in the dead pile. I'm just thinking of Morghulis potentially next round. That would then get the extra character and it would be decent economy here for Alex to still maintain some kind of threat. and he would need a big threat to basically survive, because I'm sure Robin would win initiative and just push for the win then. Harris does more for him here, I think. Just gets to keep one character, one of these three, and the deckhand. And Morghulis it is, so let's see how many saves Robin has. So he wins initiative, has to go first to sack the characters that are not going to make it. And he sacks all of them, so no saves. Okay, that keeps them alive, but also gets rid of some of the power. And yeah, the good thing for him, keeps them out of the dead pile, so now the two ports, or actually, yeah, the two ports will just get the 2 gold between them. So it's 7 with all the reductions available. It's not that much for Alex. Now let's see if something more threatening comes into play here. Oh, it's not what he wanted really, but still, this is a big one anyway, that can survive most burn effects. Let's see what Alex has available. Viserys, currently the only attachment is the Reason. That helps some, bringing the strength down to 4 and getting rid of the attachment that protects from Dragon is now Slave. Another port, so yeah, with that extra 3 gold from these, I think he would have had a decent round here. And Packing Brother doesn't bother with any bestow here, because there are no triggers to cancel, just silence a screw, I guess. Okay, needs some more help here in the challenges phase, otherwise Euron will win the challenge, intimidate something, then Grey Ghost also, and the Longship. All basically make sure that challenges are unopposed if Robin can push them through. And Euron gets to stand, so doesn't even need to do the challenge with Drowned God Fanatic, which can be brought down to 0 strength more easily. Incinerate on Euron. Gets him down to 1. And back up to 3. And the last card is Consuming Flames. And bye bye Euron. So that saves the military challenge going through. However, no more cards, so now Robin doesn't need to play around anything, and he will win the other two unopposed because of his locations. So that will be 12 power for him. And Maiden's Bane works on the crew as well, so even has enough to defend the power from the other side. So the best Alex can do, I think, is just the unopposed intrigue with no claim, which is not really problematic. So, okay. Any more solutions is the question here for Alex. So he's used 2 exchanges. He needs accounting coppers, and he has lots of economy for that. And Robin also has used his counting coppers. So I assume he has you win or you die, unless have I missed another restricted card somewhere? I don't think so. And he has a hand anyways, and nothing significant is dead apart from Euron. That will do. That will do just fine. So more cards. Winning initiative. Plenty of gold. And now whatever these 5 cards are, they're not going to burn everything that Robin puts into play here, I think. And here comes Balon, the king version that doesn't kneel. Interesting, that's the one I see the least probably. And the little Theon, not the best matchup for him, but still pretty decent. And just these two, okay, slightly disappointing perhaps, with the 8 cards still remaining. Okay, so let's check Balon. Kneel a Greyjoy location to increase strength, so it works on loyal characters. Once per challenge, but doesn't really have a limit as to the number of characters you can choose. So currently he's the only loyal one, and the fanatic. Okay, so it's not great protection against burn. And we have the Daenerys, and still plenty of gold left. But he kind of needs these 4 cards to be really the perfect cards to be of any use to him. one Fanatic is in play, one in the discard pile, still like 8 cards in hand, so could be a cancel somewhere in there as well, and Drogon. So that will only matter if Alex survives, and if he does survive, okay, he has a decent chance, but okay, here come the characters. So anything unopposed immediately wins with Grey Kraken, or power challenge with Balon immediately wins, or an unopposed power challenge, so any of these combinations. So if he just, for instance, uses the raiding longship on Drogon and pushes through the military challenge with everything, that wins the game. I would have gone with everything here, I think. It's just to stop Daenerys burning both characters somehow. But let's be honest, it's unrealistic anyway. Balon up to 6 and has the scout as well. And with no gold and no cards for a big incinerate, I think it's game over. Yeah, good game for Robin, very nicely played, and a nice deck selection as well. I wonder if he was expecting this, because it seemed to work out pretty well for him, copying the coppers here, and he played that Return to the Fields at the right time as well. If he was expecting Greyjoy and chose the mirror, that would be slightly unusual, so I'm guessing he was expecting something like this, and got it very nicely. And Alex, yeah, just probably not turning those ports on was the big setback, and of course 2 hands judgments at the right time, even with a very limited hand. And this hands judgment card is often the key card that decides games in this tournament, as we saw quite a few times. So yeah, very good call to include those. Nice game. So Alex is eliminated. Decent job from him in this tournament, winning 3 games, but couldn't make it 4. And Robin makes it to the final part of the losers bracket, and he is going to play the loser of the winners bracket game that comes next between Reinhardt and Robert, which is to be played Sunday evening, and we'll do our best to bring you that as well. And then I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be like for the following games. Maybe the weekend after we see this one, or maybe sometime before that. Not sure, but hopefully we can record all of them. So let's see, 4 games at the most remaining, so 3 or 4 games until we crown our champion. So thanks for joining me on this one, and see you next time.